This is a video about grouped frequency tables and estimating the mean for data that is in groups. So here's some data. It's heights of students in a particular class, and they're in groups, so from 150 to 155, 155 to 160, and so on. Now if somebody's right on the border, so say somebody's 160, you can tell which group they go in because the group from 155 to 60 is only including people who are less than 160, but the next group is 160 or more up to less than 165. So those little inequalities, some of them have an extra line on them showing you where something is allowed to be equal to something. So you can tell if something's on the border, whether it goes in the upper group or the lower group. Okay, so we've got different numbers of people or frequencies of people. That's why it's headed with F. So the first group has one person in, one person between 150 and 155 centimeters. Two people more than or equal to 155 up to but less than 160 centimeters. So that could be anything up to 159.99999 centimeters is in that group. And then anyone who's 160 is in the next group, up to anyone who's just under 165. So there's 5 people in that group, and so on. And you can see there's 2 columns there that I've filled in, and 2 other columns, and we're going to do something with those other columns in a minute. And in fact, we're going to look at the midpoint of the groups. So that one person who's in the first group, 150 to 155, he or she or they could be 150, they could be 155, or they could be anywhere in between. So our best guess is just to take the midpoint and say, okay, we're going to assume that that person is 152.5 centimeters tall. The same thing with the following groups. So the next group has 2 people in it, and they are somewhere from 155 to 160. Now they could both be 155, or they could both be 60. But our best guess is to say, okay, on average we will assume that they're both right in the middle, 157.5. And it's the same with the other groups. We're going to assume that everybody in each of those groups is right in the middle of the group, because in the absence of any better information, that's the best we can do for an estimate. So here are the midpoints of each of those groups. And now we're going to work out M times F. So I've headed that MF standing for midpoint times frequency. So the first group has one person who we are assuming is 152.5. So that makes a total height of 152 times 1, 152.5 I should say, times 1, 152.5. Next group, 2 people, we're assuming that they're 157.5 each. So 157.5 times 2 makes a total height of 315 for those 2 people. Next group, 5 people, we're assuming that they're all 162.5. So 162.5 times 5 gives you the total height for all the people in those groups. So we're just multiplying these out. So the midpoint of each group times the number of people in each group, giving you an estimate of the total height for all the people in the group. So we can keep doing that, and then once we've got to the end, we're going to add these columns up. So the total of the F column is 18. So that means we've got a total of 18 people in all the groups. And the total of their heights was 3010. So we've got 18 people with a total of all their heights, if you add them up, 3010 centimeters. Now it is just an estimate because we don't have any of their exact heights, we just know the groups they're in, but it is the best estimate we've got. So the estimate for the mean is just going to be the total of all the heights divided by the number of people. So that's 3010 divided by 18. And there it is. So that is our best estimate for the mean of all the heights based on the information in groups. So that's how you work out the mean, or how you estimate the mean of grouped data.